So if you've watched my channel for a bit of time now, you'll know that the inner world, or should I say the outer world, follows the inner. And so in this video, I want to go over 5 signs from the inner world that your manifestation is close. These are things you'll be feeling and noticing within your inner world that indicates that certain physical things are about to come in. And when you understand these signs, it gives you that encouragement to keep going, to keep doing what you're doing, or even slightly adjust if needed. So that's what we're going over coming up next. So before we jump into it, my name is Dave and this is HeartSpace, where I'm creating videos every single day to help you along your heart path, which for me means helping you into a life, co-creating a life of fulfillment where you're just excited every day to wake up in your life to be you. This is 100% possible, and I create these videos, the courses I create, and everything else to help you bridge the gap from wherever you are now to that dream life that you want. Now, one thing that's going to help you do that is I just released my course, Rising Abundance. And so if you want abundance in every single area of your life, you want to tap into universal principles that are going to help you do this, get some of the best tools I've ever come across in order to do this as well, check out the link down below to learn more. But anyway, let's get into some of these inner signs. I'm giving you 5 today that you're going to be feeling from an inner world perspective, what they are, and some things you can also do when you're feeling these things. Number 5, I just call delicious anticipation. And this is where you're not forcing anything, but you are genuinely feeling just this excitement. And there's no reason to be feeling excitement, so to speak, because we need some physical reason for some reason to feel excitement. But you just have this delicious, excited, anticipatory feeling that something's going to come in, and you can feel it in your body. You just kind of know, okay, something's happening here, something's manifesting, something's happening in the inner world, in the background, that's coming in very soon. Remember, these feelings are not redundant, they're not happen chance. And if you're feeling this continuous excitement, like this almost like, oh, I'm about to receive a birthday present type of excitement. You know that feeling? Like that kind of excitement when you're a kid, you wake up on Christmas morning and you have that delicious anticipation of opening your presents. You're like a 5-year-old. You're like, oh my God, it's Christmas. What did Santa bring me? Right? It's that level of excitement, right? You're just excited for, you know, the Santa of life, I don't know, for the universe to bring in these things. And you can just feel that they're coming in because you are connected to the universe. We are one, you know, we come from that source. And so it's giving you these downloads, these feelings of, oh, something is coming in and here is the excitement, you know, keep that excitement going. So you just have this feeling of just delicious, natural, excited anticipation. It's one of the greatest feelings and one of the best ways to indicate that something is manifesting, and to keep doing what you're doing to be in that excitement. Again, it's a very natural thing. You didn't have to think your way into it. It just was there. Like you're just connecting to something. It's come to you. You didn't force anything. It was just very, very natural. In fact, in the comments, put, I am tapping into my natural excitement. Again, we don't want to force this, but you can set out an intention to start connecting more with this energy. Anyway, let's move on to number 4. Number 4 is another really fun one because it's a natural automatic thing, and I just call it automatic daydreaming. You see, most people automatically daydream of things they do not want to happen. They automatically daydream of things they would rather avoid. And there's a biological component and survival component to this, but in this day and age, it's not really useful to have kind of negative visualization, kind of anticipatory things for predators and whatever else, right? And so when you've gotten to the point where you've been doing this work long enough, the inner work long enough, to where you are daydreaming of the things that you want automatically, it is an amazing sign it's about to come in. You're almost getting like these images now from the universe. You are crystallizing these things more and more and more to the point they will eventually crystallize into physical manifestation. And so if you find yourself just daydreaming about your dream life, like, you know, like that, like automatically, where you don't even have to, you know, set yourself up to do that, which you can still do and is super important and we'll get into, but you just find yourself daydreaming all the time about these things, that's a great sign that it's about to come in physically, because it's really showing you, giving you a preview of what's about to come into the physical. And so automatic daydreaming of those good things is a great sign that certain things are going to manifest in the physical realm for you, and things on that same wavelength as what you're actually daydreaming. If you're enjoying this video so far, hit the like button, and now we're gonna move on to number 3. Number 3 is you just feel like it is done and complete. And here is essentially when you know you're feeling this. Now, again, there's going to be a level of excitement, and I would say this is what comes after that excitement. It's just this feeling of completion, where you know, like, oh, it is done, it's gonna be here, and I don't even have to think about it or worry about it. And the excitement may be over, or you still might feel excited towards it, but it's just done. And again, the best way I can really explain this is you no longer need it or feel like you need it. The neediness is completely gone. And when you feel like you don't need something and you actually genuinely come from that energy, you create a space that is safe for it to enter. And the best way I can describe this is if you ever had someone who's pursuing you romantically and they're doing it in a very needy way, what was your initial intuitive or even instinctual action? It was to run away and be like, okay, haha, cool, get away from me now, or whatever else it was, if they were being super needy. And when you get to the point where you're just like, oh, it is done, it is complete, I'm not even gonna worry about it. You remove that neediness and you normalize this thing in your life. And because you understand universal principles, you know that just because it's not here physically yet doesn't mean it doesn't exist, doesn't mean that it isn't true that you now have this thing. For example, with abundance, maybe the physical manifestation of that's not in your bank account yet, but you feel so abundant that you're just like, oh yeah, I'm abundant. Like, I don't even need to think about it. I know I'm abundant. I don't need it, but I'm inviting it in. Essentially, when you no longer need it, it feels safe for the thing to come in. But when you need something and you attach needy energy towards it, you create resistance and you don't allow for that thing to come in. Again, I always like using the relationship example for this, or just romantic situations, because I think we've all, for the most part, felt that at some point in time where someone was being needy or kind of clingy or whatever else it was, and it kind of repelled us from that person. That doesn't just work on the romantic sense of thing. That works for all types of energy. It works for abundance as well. And so when you have that genuine feeling of, you know what, it's already here, it's already complete, you have this feeling of completion, like the co-creative process for this specific thing is complete, and you'll know this feeling when you feel it. So if you haven't felt it yet, don't worry. You will know this if you keep following these things. You'll know what this feels like. But it's just like, yeah, it's here. I know it is. It's coming physically. I don't have to worry about it. I don't even need it, but I am inviting it in. Now, number 2 is high conscious emotions, or feeling good now. One of my highest level mentors, this is another secret of kind of like the elite that they really kept secret because it's so simple, but it's just one of the most effective ways to bring abundance in your life, and it's feeling good now. And the reason that this works is because feeling good now elevates you to higher levels of consciousness. And when you're at higher levels of consciousness, you open the gateway for good things to start coming in because they're on a similar wavelength to those levels of consciousness. For example, if you're in the, again, we can talk about excitement. If you're in the energy of excitement, well, that's going to bring certain things in. If you're in the energy of completion, like we talked about, that's going to have to bring in certain things of the physical equivalent of that. If you're in a calm, peaceful place, which I would say probably is more like that completion energy, like calm and peaceful and just the knowing that it's coming, it has to bring in that physical equivalent. And so what I always talk about in Rising Abundance, in fact, is the idea of where do you live versus where do you visit? Do you live in peace, joy, abundance, all gratitude and things like that? Or do you live in fear and anger and jealousy, even guilt and shame? Where you live is what you're going to bring in the physical equivalent of by law. So if you feel good now, bring in those high conscious levels of emotion, and you can train yourself to do this. In fact, it's actually very simple to do once you learn how to do it. You just have to keep practicing it. It's our natural state to actually be in these higher levels of consciousness. But when you live in those higher levels, you start bringing more abundance in as a byproduct. Actually, by law, it has to occur in this way because that is the wavelength you're on. If you tune a radio to a certain radio station, by law, it will give you what's on that wavelength on whatever that station is. It works the same way here. If you're sending out a signal of abundance, you will get whatever the physical equivalent of that signal is, right? You're not going to get something on fear when you're in abundance, just like if you tune into 92.2, you're not going to hear whatever's on 84.6 or whatever. I don't know radio stations, but you're not going to get that, right? Because you're tuned into that other one. You're going to get what you're tuned into more often. And number 1 is what I like to call intuitive hits of inspiration. And this is just you're getting intuitive hits all the time, whether maybe it's ideas or certain actions you should take. And if that is the case, all you really need to do at that point is co-create and follow through. If you're getting certain intuitive hits and it's like, oh, you should take this action, go do this thing, you know, write this thing down, here's an idea for you, it means you're really tuned into those high levels of consciousness, because these ideas wouldn't be coming through if you weren't tuned into the frequency where these ideas come from, once again. So that's the first step. But if you're getting these intuitive hits of inspiration, it's really, you know, consciousness. It's really like your, you know, we can call them whatever, like your guides, we can call it your higher self, trying to pull you in the direction of taking actions in a way that's going to bring in abundance. And if you're doing things like you have a definite chief aim and you're focusing on certain energies, you're going to notice more of this inspiration coming in to try and encourage you to take actions in that direction. And then of course your job is to take actions in that direction. And if you start doing that, it's going to be hard not to be abundant. In fact, if you're doing that, it's going to be harder to not be abundant than it is to be abundant, because those actions are what's going to lead to the physical abundance coming in. So if you're getting those intuitive hits of inspiration, just follow through with them. Now, if you're not getting those intuitive hits of inspiration, it might be because you're not doing some of the other things that are on here. And so make sure, again, it all starts at that level of energy. If you're living in lower levels of energy, then you know you're not going to get to the point of having all this inspiration come in, because again, you're just not tuned into that frequency, into that radio station, so to speak, right? The universe, the radio of the universe, you're not tuned into abundance, so you're not going to be getting inspiration that's going to show you how to bring that in physically. But again, you start there at the foundation of shifting your energy, start living in those higher conscious levels of emotions, and then when you're tuned into that, you'll start getting the inspiration to take certain actions that are going to bring it in for you. So if you are struggling with abundance or money or finances, or you just want to learn some more ways to bring more of that into your life, check this video out next, where I give you some solutions and some things that are going to really help you create avalanches of abundance in your life. I'm going to give you some great things in that video, so check it out.